Hello all.
Hello.
And welcome to the first episode of the Greybeards Report. As you see, we have grown out our beards for the month of November.
We're working on it.
Last November, in my case.
He's a little ahead of me.
As you can see. November is dedicated to men's health issues, and we'd like to also thank our sponsor today, Beard Brand.
Thank you, Beard Brand.
For the beard men's in your life. My name is Milton Hunter, and of course this is Chuck Ross sitting next to me.
Hi, everyone.
So what is the Greybeards Report? The idea and purpose behind this, which will ultimately be a series featuring different topics, is to relay information for you, our viewer. Ideas for future episodes are welcomed and encouraged as we seek your input towards the direction of this venture. After all, this is all meant for your benefit. Our goal is to break down and provide details on some of the issues facing us and to hopefully have some fun along the way. To unravel facts from fiction, truth from rumor. We plan to have some guest speakers in future episodes, and that through this medium, we will help to build a better understanding between us all. Biscayne Park has traditionally faced some challenges in communicating and providing transparency with the public, and we hope to help fill that gap. Now, before we get started, we thought a little personal background would be helpful for any watching who don't know us, if there is such a person in Biscayne Park.
I'm sure there's a couple.
Starting with Chuck. He and his wife, Rox, have lived here since 1987. Chuck is a CPA since 1981. He started to get interested in local issues when he first met with Commissioner Bob Anderson in the late 1990s. Next, he became involved with the local group of concerned citizens that wished for a liaison with our police department. Several meetings took place with former Chief Mitch Glansberg, miss you Mitch, and former manager Frank Spence, not so much. Ultimately, this led to Chuck getting involved with the Citizens Crime Watch and became the chief coordinator chairperson for the village in 2010 to date. Along the way, he won 2 county awards during this time. As part of this position, Chuck has attended monthly meetings in Doral with the County Crime Watch organization and met frequently with both our police chiefs and village managers to discuss police-related issues and to post real-time crime alerts to the public. Now, while on the subject, Chuck, can you tell us about the current state of our Citizens Crime Watch?
Well, we're not functioning as well as we were in the past, primarily because I believe that there's been interference from the administration, primarily from Tracy Trutman, the mayor, who doesn't like things that she can't control.
And we just happen to have the mayor stop in. Mr. Mayor, how are you?
Yes.
Okay. Listen.
Eavesdropping again, I see. So, the bottom line is, in the past I had a very good relationship, a close relationship, with the police chief, and I worked with the department, and I was able to put out timely, real-time almost, crime reports to the neighborhood. And of course, you know, we're talking about significant events here. Now, the way it stands, I don't feel the same ability to connect with the police department, and I believe it's because it's being impaired by Tracy, the mayor. I
know I missed the real-time or close to real-time reporting because I have no feel for crime activities. You know, reading it at the end of a week is stale information, and I, for one, would like to see us go back to a more active crime watch. And thank you for your time and effort. I know you built it up from how many members?
Well, originally when I took it over from Joe Chow, which I want to give Joe credit, who ran it before me, and it just so happened it was perfect timing, by the way, because Joe was at a point in his career where he couldn't fully give his all to the Crime Watch organization, and my wife Rox had just gotten elected, and I wanted to stay involved. I was on a board. I forgot to, you know, I was on the code review board.
Oh,
okay. And I forgot to, you know, to tell you about that. And I thought not proper for me to be on that board, and with my wife, who ended up being mayor, as it turned out at the time. So I built it up from what Joe had it at 150 to today, where we have over 800 members.
Okay. Again, like to see that get back to the way it was. As for myself, I came to Biscayne Park as a Hurricane Andrew transplant back in 1992. Not long after moving here, I found myself involved with some village issues, which resulted in me meeting and dealing with both residents and the current commission. From that, I ended up serving as president for our now defunct Civic Club, which we focused on community building activities, and I served in that position for, I believe, 3 years. With the help of Dale Blanton and Gloria, which I could not have done without you. Thank you. In addition to this, I have been writing content on both village blogs for the past 7 years, and with my own blog, the Biscayne Parker, sorry New York for the ripoff, which was launched in 2015. So, enough on this. Let's get into today's talking points, and we'll put you away for now. So, as with any story, we need to start at the beginning. Chuck, can you provide us with an overview?
Sure.
Thanks.
For close to the past 3 years, starting in December 16, a dramatic change has taken place in our local government. Certain actions were attempted by Tracy Trutman shortly after she was elected to be mayor. Among the newly appointed commissioners also included Jenny Johnson Sardella and William Tudor. This action that was attempted, the purpose was to increase her power as mayor. She attempted to do an end run around the proper procedures, and the proper procedures, by the way, is we have a charter review committee, and we have,
yes,
and we'll get into that in another time, but the bottom line is she wanted to add to the ballot at a special election to provide the ability to the commission to ratify certain government heads such as the chief of police. This effort failed, but cost the village time and effort, and resources rather, and ultimately led to the resignation of the professional manager that had just been hired a few months earlier, that we'll discuss next.
And I will just interject that we are now facing many of those same initiatives to create a strong mayor position and to funnel powers from the manager to the mayor, led by the current iteration of the Charter Review Committee, which we'll be covering in a future post in great detail.
Correct. That's exactly what's going on now. Tracy had an agenda if she were elected, which she worked out ahead of time with Jenny and Will.
Which makes 3.
Which makes a majority.
Yes.
1, run the manager, Sharon Ragunan, out of the village. This was accomplished on March 7th, 2017.
6 months after she was hired, by the way.
2, she set her sights to eliminate the then current police chief, Rusty McKenna. As it so happened, that chief confided in me that when she got elected, he was going to resign. So he beat her to it.
Okay. Moving on.
It soon became apparent that the Tracy agenda was not in the best interest of the village, but was in the best interest of Tracy, to solidify her power in Biscayne Park. The next event was that David Coviello, who was the sitting mayor when Tracy got elected and had 2 years left on his term, decided to resign in March of 2017. We never got a straight answer on why he decided to resign, but we believe he quit because of Tracy, but we can't prove it.
Well, he had mentioned also that he had parents that were elderly and ill and perhaps needed more space to move them into his house, but I don't believe that ever happened, did it?
No, it didn't. And really, the whole thing made no sense. And
another BP mystery.
Another BP mystery.
Okay,
exactly.
Moving on.
So, and by the way, we weren't really counting, but that would have been the 3rd resignation.
But who's counting?
The result of David leaving is we had another special. We had our first special election with Harvey Bilt being elected to replace David and complete David's term. Interesting, as the village turns, that here we sit again with 2 Tracy supporters, Betsy Wise and Jenny Jensen Sardella, that resigned from office within 2 weeks of each other. One on October 16th and the other on November 6th.
Another BP mystery. Okay, now we're having another special election to fill those seats, which will be held January 7th, 2020. We'll have more details on that also.
Continuing on.
Yes.
Tracy campaigned for Harvey, and Harvey resulted in her getting a solid majority on the commission. She now had Harvey built, Jenny Jensen Sardella, and Will Tudor.
And herself.
And herself, against one other person. That was being my wife.
Well, and
I had to mention it.
and that's a majority vote in her corner, and so her desire for complete control has been accomplished.
So,
I think we have another resignation. Is this 4?
yes it is.
Okay.
In April of 18, our longtime village attorney for over 20 years resigned, again, without any explanation.
Sensing a trend here.
And then there was one more.
Oh boy.
We had a code officer. That would have been the 5th. And I don't remember exactly when she resigned, but it was about maybe a year and a half ago.
Well, as I said, I see a trend here, yes.
Yes, I think we've never had this situation before, where we have such a number of resignations, and we've never had a situation where right now we have only 3 sitting commissioners pending the special election.
We are truly in uncharted waters. Topic 2, very briefly, again, the special election to be held January 7th, 2020. Anything you'd like to add as details on that?
Only that you can find information about that on the website at www.biscaynefl.gov, and there's a tab where you click to get special election. There's 3 candidates. I don't think there's any reason not to mention them. There's Matt Kennedy, there's Raphael Cordia, and Ginny O'Halpin. Their information that they submitted to become qualified as a candidate to run for office is also under that special election tab.
I wish them good luck. They're going to need it. Anyway, and our last topic for this video is the proposed whistleblower ordinance. And I know certainly you have something to add in details about that.
Well, yes. This is something that came from the county a short while ago, and it allows for municipalities to opt in to provide for whistleblower protection for employees, something that state and federal laws don't offer right now. So if an employee sees some corruption, I don't want to use the word corruption, wrongdoing going on in the village,
yes,
then they can report it to a designated official, and it will then go to a panel which will evaluate, and then to an investigation. And since we don't have the resources to have our own investigator, the county will provide those services for us.
You know, this for me, when I heard it, was a win-win for a community, and all small communities like ours, and that we do not have a personnel department or HR department. And as it stands, we have a village manager responsible for employees, but that could be a conflict of interest if the alleged allegation was against the manager, potentially, and or it was in somehow conflicting with the commissioners, which he serves at the will of. So if this was not, as it was portrayed, a way to bankrupt the village in cost, I don't know how anyone could not vote this in and do it with great, well, I think we have a great need. Let me just leave it at that.
And just to tag on to what you said, there were 2 commissioners that tried to oppose this without acting like they were opposing it. One, they said it was a great thing, but one was the mayor, Tracy Trutman, and the other was Betsy Wise. And they basically parroted each other in the sense that they both said it would, as you said, possibly bankrupt the village. And they falsely, in my opinion, they falsely represented the costs, because we don't need a standing investigator. We have the county, and we don't need a standing panel. We can address that at the time a whistleblower makes a complaint. So truly, the only cost to this would be the cost to pass an ordinance, and we wouldn't even have to draft it because essentially they provided the language for us already.
And I imagine some supporting, if and when we had a claim come up, which I can't imagine would be all that often.
No.
Okay. Did you get that this time?
I don't think
Okay,
we've
good.
ever had a whistleblower complaint in the village. But at least this would also provide for those employees to not be in fear of losing their job and have to sue to get it back
Out of their pocket.
out of their pocket.
So there's certainly value to this, and hopefully, I believe we actually had someone that was coming from the county
The Inspector General.
that wrote the bill to explain this and to correct any of the misinformation, which may have in all purposes just been not understood clearly.
Or to obstruct the passage of the bill. Meanwhile, it's going to be talked about on the December meeting.
Which is next week, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Inspector General is sending one of the people that actually, as you say, I believe, if they didn't write the entire bill, they worked on
the bill.
They worked on the bill, and they'll be there to explain it better.
So we should be able to get to the bottom of it and hopefully see that moving forward.
And we can recap that when we have our next video.
Absolutely.
The results of that meeting.
Okay. We're going to try to keep these segments fairly short, 15, 20 minutes or so, and we'll also give you a sneak peek as to what's going to come in edition number 2. Those topics will be number 1, our current situation with FEMA regarding their claim denials from Hurricane Irma, which are hundreds of thousands of dollars of our reserves.
You should take that one.
I'll handle that gladly.
Good.
Number 2, the seemingly obstruction of public records requests, which has been written about in great detail on both the blog and on other social media outlets. I think you can handle that.
I would like to take that one.
Perfect, that's
Thank
yours.
you.
And then general charter violations and the ongoing investigation from the Miami-Dade County Ethics Department.
We can share that.
That sounds like a good plan.
Sounds like a plan.
We'd like to thank you again for your time and attention, and thank our sponsor, Beard Brand.
Thank you, Beard Brand.
For the beardsmen and
Thank you,
your
audience,
lives.
for your time and patience.
Happy Thanksgiving to all.
Happy Thanksgiving.